Hey guys, before we get into this video, I want to show you guys my settings, my graphical settings for Thunder 02 and Thunder 04 because a lot of people have, and you'll see it in this video later, line down the center, a lot of things not lining up, some lines on the cars. It's graphically it's got some issues with the emulator, but with these settings it should fix everything. I'm only going to point out the ones I specifically changed for Thunder 02. But some of my global settings might have been changed a while back for Thunder 04. I don't know if they're required or not, but you can see them on screen. So they may be needed to fix this. They might not. So you might want to pause it and pay attention to the global settings as well that I have. First, if you go settings and then graphics, it's going to take you to your global settings. But if you have the game running and you go settings and game properties, then it'll take you to the game specific settings. Which you'll see it'll say use global setting in a lot of spots. You essentially, if you change this with the game active, then you're only changing it for the game, and that's what that box is for. The box is the global setting, checked as using it, unchecked as not using it. The box is whatever global is it's using. So that's just what that means. So I normally just go settings, game properties, and change it specifically for the game. That way it doesn't affect my other games if they need other settings to perform the way you expect. So first off, settings, game properties, then graphics, and then the display tab. You're going to want to check anti-blur. I have widescreen on. Everything else is set to my defaults, but you can see my globals. You may need to set them. Next is the rendering tab. I have MIP mapping checked at the bottom and manual hardware renderer fixes. This is important because this adds a bunch of these other tabs that you normally don't have. I also have it at 4x native, which is how much it, I don't want to say upscales, but what resolution it renders the game at. So you can run this higher if your computer can handle it, but I know with the Thunder 04 mods, running it higher isn't really all that great. But you know what? We're not doing high-res textures in this one, so I'm actually fine with setting this to 8x. Now that you've checked the manual hardware renderer fixes, you'll have the hardware fixes tab show up. On the hardware fixes tab, you want to check disable depth conversion, uncheck all 4 of these, as well as unchecking the GPU palette conversion. That's the only thing I changed on this one. Then the upscaling fixes. These you're going to have to set. Round sprite set to full. You can set this to half as well. It works pretty much the same, but I set it to full. Bilinear dirty upscale set to force nearest. Then align sprite checked. Merge sprite checked. Unscaled palette texture draws checked. And wild arms hack unchecked. That's, I think, specifically for that game. With those settings, as you can see, it should get rid of the lines. I have a pretty clear, pretty good looking graphical representation of Thunder 02 here. Alright, on to the regular video. Hello everyone, welcome to another NASCAR Thunder modding video. This one's in a different version of Thunder, as you're well aware by the title and by the video itself. But we were doing something different today. So there's a big limitation on Thunder 2002 that I thought might be easy to fix, and I thought some people might be interested in having in their hands. Not easy to fix in general, but easy to fix with the knowledge I gained from modding Thunder 04. So the big thing is that in career mode, you have 20 seasons, a lot like the other games, but you can't change any of the options. Anyone who had Thunder 2002 knows that the career mode doesn't make sense in the fact that you can't change the race length. You have a 5% race length. You have to pit for fuel and tires, which that short of a race is silly. No yellow flags, limited damage, short schedule, all that stuff. It's a real pain. It isn't as fun. Nobody wants to run just a 12 race schedule if they're running a career mode. It didn't make sense. But these options, I found a way to change them via some of the cheat code features in PCSX2. This will work on any version. You don't need a special version to use it. You do not need a special program to do anything. You just need the emulator and the game, and to be able to enable some cheat options. That's it. So when you download the zip file linked in the description, you're going to notice I have a couple folders. It'll say career, 12 race, 23 race, and 36. And I know 23 is not the normal option here. Normally the game gives you 12, 24, and 36 in the other modes. But what I decided to do, 12 is what they have by default. 36 is the full schedule for that 2001 season. 23 races, that's every racetrack once. So there's no repeat races in that one. 24 has at least one repeat, but I just did 23. Works fine. Essentially, you pick how many races you want to run. So I prefer the 23 where we hit each track once. Then you're going to open this PNetch file here. Now you can open this file with a any sort of text editor. Notepad will work. I use Notepad++. It's just a slightly different version. But you'll see a bunch of stuff here up top. This is where you're gonna be messing with what settings you want. Everything below, it says do not touch. That's for a reason. That's the schedule. And everything up top, just leave alone. That should be fine. So what you want to do is select what race length you want. So I want to run 10%. So whatever percentage you want, you go to the next line, and let me just zoom in. This will be easier for a video. There we go. So I want 10%. This is just a comment, is what this is called when it has 2 slashes. But I want 10%. So the line after that, I'm just going to get rid of the comment portion, the double slash, and then that will be in effect. So I have all the race lengths that the game has by default. I also have a custom one, which you'll have to get go to Google and look up a decimal to hex converter and change whatever values on the end here to get a custom length if you want to do a different percentage than what's in the game. However, as noted here, I don't know what the fuel and tire consumption will be like with custom length. I think it's going to be the same as the 50 and 100%. I'm pretty sure the game defaults to those, but I haven't tested it. I haven't confirmed it, so I have no idea. So if you want to run 18%, something in between here, or 30 or 40% or something, you can do that. But by enabling this one and changing this value, but I don't know what the tire wear is going to be like. I can't promise anything there. Unlimited fuel and tires, and I note they seem backwards. Logically, on is a 0 and off is a 1. That seems backwards, but that is the case. So if you want unlimited fuel and tires, you uncomment this. If you want to have pit stops, you uncomment this one. That's the default though anyway, so really this one isn't totally necessary, but it just forces it to be that option. Damage, if you want it limited, completely on to where you can wreck out. I haven't tested wrecking out in career mode. It might cause issues. I don't know. Maybe that's why they had it off. We'll have to find out together, I guess. Or just completely off. You just comment out which line you want. So I want it on, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Get rid of that commenting, the 2 slashes, and yellow flags. I want those on, so I'm gonna get rid of 2 slashes there. Once you've made what changes you want for your settings that you want, then you just go ahead and hit save. If you're in regular Notepad, just file save, and then close out. The other step you need to do is figure out where your game's cheats live. So you want to go to, in your PCSX2 emulator, you want to go to settings and then down to folders, and you should see a cheats directory. This path is where you want to go to put your cheats files. You can go ahead and hit open and it'll open it for you. And that file that you had from your custom schedule here, so the 23 race file, you just put this file in your cheats folder, and then you reset the game. While it's loading, you go to settings, game properties, and cheats, and you can enable cheats. I know for Thunder 04 you have to wait until it's done loading to check this box because it has a chance of not loading. Thunder 02 with the codes that we put in, it doesn't seem to have an issue. So you could leave it checked. Once you check this once, you could leave it checked all the time for Thunder 2002 at least. So now when I go into race modes career, it's still going to look as if my settings are the default that they have. But as you guys will see, we'll jump ahead here. So as you guys will see, the race length itself here in career mode is, I now have a 20 lap race at Daytona, which is 10%. We are not in widescreen. Let's go ahead and change that because that's ugly. Luckily in 2002 you can change widescreen in the menu. You don't have to, assists are on, everything. You don't have to mess with too many settings to do that. So as you'll see, if you spin out, it doesn't bring out a yellow. You can't simply just go backwards like the other Thunder titles. It doesn't just bring out a caution going backwards. However, well, it murdered me, but you can see the caution came out there before I was murdered, or as I was dying there. But yeah, so you can see cautions work, DNFing works. Everything seems to be in order for these custom settings. Something else that's a little funky, I just want to note it while we're here, the sponsorships. So there's still going to be 3 race length contracts. I do have a weird way to maybe fix that, but it's a little complicated, so I didn't really get to it yet. I might not get to it at all, but the contract lengths are only 3 races, so that's going to seem a little silly with a 24 race season. I think they get longer as you rank up. I don't know. I haven't played 02 career mode ever because of the whole reason I'm making this video is that it wasn't fun at 5% with limited damage and no cautions. Like I didn't want to run a career mode in that, so I don't remember what it was. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. This is really just a small little fix for Thunder 02's career mode settings, and that's all it is. Just a little stopgap, something I decided to do over the weekend in a couple hours, and I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I hope you guys get some enjoyment out of jumping back to 02 for some fun and being able to customize the career mode a bit further. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.